Happy Friday. Thank you so much for being here with me for some Pilates. We've got 45 minutes of flow style class. Please grab a cushion if you think you might need it for when we're on hands and knees. A rolled up towel, a pillow, or a garden pad work really, really well. An extra mat on top of whatever you have on the ground also might work just fine. If you don't need it, that's completely fine. Simplify your life and just bring yourself on up to that mat. Work at a pace that makes sense for your own body in this particular moment in time, and let's get ourselves moving. All right, we will start up on our mats. Let's stand up nice and tall with our feet wide. We're going to spread those toes to point out toward the front bottom corners of the room. We're going to turn our heels slightly inward so they're a little bit farther out versus where our hips are, maybe shoulder width or just a bit farther apart. Let's settle our weight back toward our heels, and as we do that, we're going to press the base of our big toe firmly into the mat. Roll to the outside of the foot and then roll toward the inside of the foot. Let's just take a moment here to just find the edges of our bases of support. So in and out through those feet. Where do you have control? How far outward can we roll, keeping the big toe pressed into the floor? How far inward can we roll, keeping the base of that pinky toe pressed into the floor? Let's settle our weight right back to a nice neutral position, something that feels very comfortable. Hopefully the heel, the base of the big toe, and the base of the pinky toe are pressed into the floor at that point. If you feel safe doing so, close your eyes for a moment and just assess how your body responds. Do we feel ourselves wobble and shake a little bit as we reestablish where that support and where that base is now that we can't see where we're going? Take a breath here with the eyes closed if you feel safe doing so. As we exhale, open up those eyes if they've been closed. Let's turn our head. We'll look side to side over one shoulder and then over the other. And let's face the screen. Now we'll tip our head side to side. Just test the waters as far as that neck range of motion. And we look straight ahead. Let's look up to the ceiling and down toward our breastbones. And then we'll face that screen again. Let's bring our shoulders up and down, allowing the blades to slide up the back of the body and down the back of the body nice and smoothly. Inhale now as we bring our shoulders up, and breathe out as we drop them down. Again, inhale, shrug them up toward the ears. Exhale, drop them down toward the floor. And let's take those blades back and toward each other. Squeeze them together as if we're cracking a walnut between them. And then we'll release those blades. Again, squeeze those blades and release them. One more time, squeeze the blades. Release. We're going to draw the belly to spine now, feeling that seatbelt of muscles engage right around our waistline. Inhale those arms up and overhead. Exhale out and down. Let's repeat that a few times. We're tracing a nice semicircle with each hand. As we scoop those arms out, stretching the fingertips toward the side walls, and then as we reach up to the ceiling. Breathe them out to T with the hands facing the screen. Fingertips are shoulder height, and we're going to stretch those fingertips as far away from the center of the body as we can. As we do, we're picturing little tractor beams. Pull our fingers toward the side walls, allowing those collarbones to come away from the middle so we get that nice stretch right around that collarbone, spreading them away from the breastbones as best we can. Roll those hands in circles. We're going to trace some circles on the wall out to either side of us, and imagine the ball of the shoulder spinning in its socket as we do so. Circle 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reverse the direction of that circle. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Feel those upper arms start to get a little bit of a burn to them. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reach those backs of the hands all the way toward the wall behind us until we feel that stretch through the chest. Hold 3, 2, and 1, and we'll bring our arms down. Again, let's shrug and release our shoulders. We'll tip that head side to side again and come right back to center. Let's clasp our fingers in front of us. Press the palms down toward the floor as we straighten our elbows. And keeping the belly drawn toward the spine, we're going to inhale, taking the arms forward, up, and overhead. Can we line up our elbows with our head as we bring those arms up? Let's keep the arms where they are and take some nice tall side bends, stretching over until our weight comes toward one foot, and then pressing from that foot, taking the top of the body all the way over to the other side. Hands in the crown of the head are reaching up and nice and long toward the top of those side walls as we continue to sway. Let's bring everything up to the ceiling. We'll open the arms to T, circle them down by the body, and then shake everything out. We'll narrow up our base of support now. Feet are parallel, heels are lined up with the sit bones. Let's pause here and stretch our toes away from each other. We're gonna again press the base of the big toe and the base of the pinky toe down into the floor. But with the toes spread away from each other, we should feel a little bit of stretch through the top of the foot. Let's lift our toes, feeling the arches lift up along for the ride, especially particularly on that inside border of the foot. Spread those toes apart, and then we're gonna take them down one at a time, pinky first and big toe last. Again, lift those toes, spread them apart, and tap them down to the mat. Lift the toes, spread them apart, tap them down to the mat, hold them there, and we're gonna shift toward our toes and hold our balance. We're moving from our ankles, and the rest of the body's in a straight line from the crown of the head all the way down to those feet. As we bring our body forward and shift the weight toward the balls of the feet, we're gonna notice our muscles kick in a little bit differently. We'll feel our soles of our feet working, our calves, the back of the thighs, maybe even the front of our thighs working to help keep those knees nice and straight. Can we rise up onto the toes and hold there with those heels slightly lifted off the floor? Hold 3, 2, and 1, and then lower the heels. Let's shift back over those ankles again, shake the knees out, and bring our fingertips to the waistline. Thumbs are at the back of the waistline, and we're going to gently draw the belly and spine a little closer together till we feel the muscles kick in under our fingertips. Let's make some circles around that base, feeling those muscles kick in to our fingertips and our thumbs just a little bit differently depending on where we are in our range. If you're not feeling much, make that circle a little bit bigger. Challenge your ability to stay nice and upright over the very, very, very edge of our base. Reverse the direction from wherever you are. Again, seeing how far sideways, how far forward, how far back do we have to shift to feel those core muscles kick in to hold us nice and steady. All right, we'll bring our weight right over those ankles again, shake the knees out, release those hands and drop them down by the sides. Inhale, shrug the shoulders, exhale, drop them down, and we're gonna hinge from our hips. We'll slide our hands down the sides of our thighs, keeping that trunk nice and still, and the crown of the head reaching toward the screen. Let's let our arms hang free, let them reach to the floor. Soften the knees a bit and squeeze those glutes. We're gonna feel our outer hips start to activate a touch as we roll our arms in circles. Trace some circles on the floor with the hands. Let those arms draw down to the mat, and then we'll reverse the direction of that circle. Release those arms, stretching the fingertips to the floor. Let's row, squeezing and releasing those shoulder blades. Taking them up, cracking the walnut between those blades. Press the arms back and stand up nice and tall. Give those shoulders a roll up to the ears, back and toward each other, and down to the floor. And now we'll get ready to make our way down to the mat. Grab any extra padding you might want. We're going to put it in the center of the mat and back ourselves up until we have a foot to a foot and a half between our toes and that extra padding, just far enough forward so we can get our knees down. Alrighty, let's slide our hands down the front of our thighs now, taking the tailbone back and the crown of the head forward, pausing when we start to feel that stretch behind our thighs. Those knees could be fairly straight. They might be bent if we tend to be tight through the backs of our thighs. You decide what position those knees need to be in so we don't feel a strain in our back as we come to that forward position. Reach the fingertips down, and we're going to bend our knees enough that we can get our fingertips down to the floor. Hold them there. Take a breath here, and as we exhale, we'll bend our knees a little further, take the hands down, and let's walk our hands forward toward the head of our mat. We're going to pause when we have about a hand's length distance between the tips of our fingers and the head of our mat. From here, maybe we can send our tailbone up toward the ceiling and then bend the knees, taking the tailbone down on the wall behind us. Wiggle just a touch. Don't worry quite yet about where your head is. We're drawing the belly to the spine and we're getting some length to the back of the thighs. Once we wiggle around, kind of find where we are, maybe we can take our feet and wiggle them back toward the wall behind us again. And now let's line up our elbows and our ears. Press the upper body back just a bit. And we're going to walk our feet out one at a time. We wiggle a knee a little bit straighter as we bend the opposite. Lengthening out through the back of one leg at a time. Sending the tailbone up toward the ceiling. Let's press our heels to the floor, drop them down, taking that energy toward the mat, even if our heels don't touch the floor. We'll breathe in here and exhale up to the toes, bringing that trunk forward until we can line up our shoulders over our elbows. Keep that core engaged. The navel's drawn toward the spine. If we need more support for our back, take the knees down. We're going to walk our hands in a little bit closer underneath the shoulders if the knees are down. And whether we're in plank on the knees or plank up on our feet, we're going to shift our weight from side to side, pushing firmly through the heels of the hands as we press our weight toward the screen and away. Again, toward the screen and away. Coming back to center, everybody draw those knees down. And let's press our bottom back to our heels. Try to keep the heels of the hands nice and still so we open up through those shoulders as we draw that bottom back and press the weight through the soles of our feet and the balls of the feet. Inhale up, belly to spine, exhale forward, unfurling that head until the crown of the head reaches up toward the front of the room. Press back bottom to heels. Inhale, belly to spine, and breathe forward to that plank on knees position. Let's squeeze our shoulder blades together behind the back and then press them toward the floor, wrapping them around the front of the body. Squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. One more time. Squeeze those blades. Press them apart toward the wall in front, or toward the floor in front of us. And then we're going to rock the bottom back to the heels one more time and turn the thumbs to face the ceiling. If your toes at any point are not feeling good in this position, we can point them and come back down to the top sides of our feet. The thumbs are pointed up toward the ceiling, and we're going to lower that forehead toward the mat. If you need to take pressure off the underarms, draw the elbows into a bent position, still pressing through the forearms and still trying to lengthen that tailbone down toward the heels. We're just taking a little bit of stress off of those underarm structures. We're going to wiggle one side of our trunk at a time toward the floor, allowing the opposite side to rotate, turning toward the opposite wall. Coming back to center, we press our hands into the floor. Let's raise ourselves right back up to our all fours position. Shoulders and wrists are lined up, knees and hips are lined up, and we're going to turn the tops of the feet down to the mat. Let's rock that body side to side. Keep going with that, rocking the shoulders or the pelvis to one side and then to the other, and then we come right back to center. Let's take our feet together, bring our knees toward the outer border of the mat, and we're going to press our bottom down toward our heels. Let's drop the forearms and slide those elbows into the inner knee joint lines, and we rock side to side. As we shift our body weight from one side of our mat to the other, we're going to feel the opposite inner thigh start to lengthen out a bit. We'll get to these muscles a little bit later on. Coming back to center. Let's go ahead and slide the hands forward again and drop the forearms. Shifting the weight over the forearms, we're going to take out any padding we have under our knees, lay it off to the side for use again in a little while, and let's lower the front of our thighs to the floor. Press through the forearms and lift that upper body just a touch so the breastbone is facing toward the lower portion of the wall in front of us. Let's squeeze our blades together and then press those blades forward. Squeeze them together, press them apart. Squeeze them together, press them apart, and one more time, squeeze those blades together, press them apart, and hold them there. We should feel the outer borders of our shoulder blades working, as well as the muscles right under the armpits. Hold here for a big breath in, and breathing out, we're going to turn to our side, facing the screen, tuck the far arm underneath the body, and let's turn over onto our backs. We can bend our knees, lining our heels up with our sit bones, and let's gently creep our fingertips down toward our toes. We're going to feel a little bit of tension through the underarm muscles as we reach. Let's let the arms melt down into the mat, releasing any tension through the front of the body, allowing the back of the body to get nice and heavy into the floor. Turn your palms over so they face the ceiling and the backs of the thumbs spin toward the mat. Take a big breath in here, and exhaling, we draw our belly and our spine together again, tightening those seatbelt muscles right around our waistline. Let's widen the collarbones away from center and open those arms out to T. Slide the hands along the mat until the hands are about level with the shoulders. We should get a little bit of opening, a little bit of stretch, a little bit of length from the pec muscles, breastbone all the way out toward the sides of our trunk. Let's keep our core engaged as we turn our head from side to side, lengthening out through the chest on the side that we're looking away from. Take that head, look side to side. Let's look forward and nod the chin toward the neck. Breathe in again, resetting belly to spine as we exhale, and this time we're going to take our lowest ribs and drop them down. That's going to let us press the rib cage and the middle back a little more firmly into the floor. Walking our ankles and knees together, let's lift up our toes and rock from our knees. Take the knees from one side wall to the other, allowing us to pivot on our heels. We're keeping our arms, we're keeping the backs of the hands, and we're keeping that middle part of our rib cage gently pressed into the floor and that breastbone facing nice and still up toward the ceiling. Breathing out, we rock away from our screen. Inhaling to the ceiling and exhaling, we rock toward our screen. Let's come right back to middle. Bring the toes to the floor, walk the heels slightly away from each other, and draw the arms down by our sides again, pressing the palms into the mat. Let's picture that clock face on our pelvis, and we're going to curl to 12 o'clock, taking the pubic bone toward the breastbone, allowing that tail to tuck between the legs. Reverse, lengthening the tailbone down to the heels for 6 o'clock. Curl to 12. Lengthen to 6. Can we keep that breastbone down and that middle back between our blades pressed into the floor? Curl to 12. Reverse to 6. Bring the body back to center. Lift up the hip on the screen side toward the ceiling. Press the far side down. There's 3 o'clock through the pelvis. Roll through center and rock that opposite hip up toward the ceiling, bringing the screen side pelvis down toward the mat. 9 o'clock. Rock to 3 and roll to 9. Again, that breastbone stays nice and still facing the ceiling. Rock to 3, roll to 9, and come right back to center. Big breath in. Exhaling, belly to spine. We're going to float up onto our toes. Walk those toes a little closer to the bottom and reset into a position where our low back flattens gently into the mat. Let's keep that foot closest to the screen on the floor as we lift the opposite foot up to tabletop and hold it there. Float the other foot up to meet it, keeping that core engaged and the low back gently pressed into the mat. Pressing our hands and thighs together, we want to take our shoulders away from our ears and build the pressure from hand to thigh until we feel our trunk working pretty significantly as we press. Let's straighten and bend our knees, keeping the pressure from the hands and the thighs toward each other. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. Inhale again, and exhaling, we float our arms to the ceiling. One at a time, take an arm out to the side wall, and then sweep it right back up to the ceiling. Exhaling, we take our opposite arm out to the far wall, and inhale it to the ceiling. Our goal as we move our arms is to keep the rest of the body as still as we can. As the arm reaches out, hone in on what's going on in the trunk. We might feel a little bit of extra effort happening through the opposite side of the body to keep our trunk from rotating along with that arm. Breathing right back to the center, we take our far knee and draw it into the chest, roll the shoulders back and down, and slide that opposite leg nice and straight along the floor, tightening the back of the knee down to the mat. Let's bring our bent knee across the body, allow it to wiggle up a little bit from the floor. Give a little rock, lengthening into that hip, maybe even to the low back on the side we're rocking the knee away from, and come right back to center. Looking toward that knee, we'll feel that chin come a little closer to the neck, and we're going to reset the belly to the spine. Excuse me, there may be one more. Hover your straight leg up off the floor. Hold it there, lengthening it as far away from your head as you can. And I want you to imagine that your tummy is the only thing that could keep that foot from floating down to the mat. Let's stretch that out, stretch hover leg out to each side wall, keeping the pelvis still as we can as we move from that hip joint. Side to side, trunk is still, shoulders are still, head and neck are nice and still. Stretching the toes forward, and now we roll through some circles. Keep that going. And reverse that direction. Circle 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the leg, take a big breath in, and slide that knee up to meet the other side. Switching gears, we're going to do the other side. We pull our knee in, we slide that leg we just had pulled into the chest out along the floor, and we draw the back of the knee down as well. Let's take that bent knee and bring it across the body, giving it a little wiggle toward the side wall and feeling that hip lengthen out. Breathe it back to the center. Nod the chin, looking toward that kneecap, and we're going to reset belly to spine and use those muscles to hover our supporting opposite leg up off the mat. Again, we're going to imagine that those lower abdominals are the only thing that control the movement of that outstretched leg. And now we take that leg side to side, moving from the side of the hip, keeping the pelvis and trunk nice and still. Draw that nice, steady horizontal line on the wall in front. Keeping those toes stretched toward the wall in front of us, we're going to make some circles. And then we circle the other way. Here's 3, 2, 1. Lower that leg down. Breathe it in, and exhaling, we draw the navel to the spine and we lift up into our hamstring stretch. Extend the knee, reach those toes up, and stretch that leg all the way to the ceiling as if we're pulling it out of its hip joint. Flex and point the toes, lengthening through everything from sit bone all the way down to the sole of the foot. Resetting the belly to the spine. We'll come to our hovered position with that opposite leg. And then let's lift that leg up to meet our stretching side. And we'll lengthen it back down to the mat. Again, we know we have some structures in the front of our hip that are helping us lift that leg. Let's imagine that the trunk is the only thing that could control that motion, particularly on the descent. Lift those toes up, lengthen that leg back down to a hovered position. And one more time, lift that leg up, lengthen it down. And as we stretch our toes to the wall in front, we'll allow our heel to gently touch the floor. We can keep that lifted stretching leg where it is and place our hands on the mat. Take that stretching leg and bring it out to the side, and then sweep it up and over toward the far wall. Side to side. Don't be afraid to use your arms to impart a little bit more stability through the trunk. Don't be afraid to bend your knee if we do need a little more slack. If all you're feeling is a really firm pull through the back of the thighs or the low back, go ahead and bend that knee a touch. Let's sweep through some circles. We'll start off small, and then we can increase them as we get more comfortable holding that nice steady position. Breathe into the top, and on that breath out, we'll circle the other direction. Again, starting small, getting that bearing, and then making that circle a bit bigger as we go. One more. Breathe up to the ceiling. Hug that knee into the chest, allowing the front of the hip to release. And then let's roll that ankle in circles a couple times each direction. And we'll guide that knee out away from center toward our screen, allowing the inner thigh to open up a bit. Take it back to the center, breathing in, and switch up the legs on the exhale. Pull into center with that far leg. Lengthen the other leg down to the mat, and we'll hold on behind our lifted thigh. Stretch those toes up, extending through the knee and reaching the whole lifted leg up toward the ceiling. Flex and point those toes. Deciding if at any point you need to bend the knee a little bit more to give some more slack and allow that back to stay on the mat. Point the toes, reset belly to spine, and hover that supporting leg up off the mat. Again, let's use our abs, imagining they're the only thing controlling the lift and lower of that hovered leg. Lift up, lower down. Maybe we kick our stretching side a little more firmly into the hands for a little more support and stability. Lift, control it down, and one more time, lift that leg up. Lengthen it down, look towards your lifted kneecap as we lower the leg to the floor, and then we keep our stretching leg where it is as best we can while taking your hands down to the mat. Reset those collarbones, take them away from center, and we'll bring that lifted leg side to side. And keep it going. 2 more. And side to side. Let's make some circles on the ceiling. Stirring that hip in its socket, increasing the range as you feel confident. Breathe in at the top, and then exhaling, we'll take them the other way. Again, starting maybe a little smaller and increasing as we get more comfortable, staying nice and stable. Leg to the ceiling, hang on behind the lifted thigh. We'll bend that knee again, releasing the front of the hip. Let's take that lifted knee out toward the far wall, lengthening through the inner thigh. We'll pull it right back to center, and let's hug our other knee into the chest. We'll roll the shoulders back and down, bring the knees slightly farther apart, and draw them in toward their same side armpits. That's going to open up our low back a little, get the inner thighs as well, and we can rock side to side. Let's take a big breath in, and a big breath out. Take them back to center, grab those kneecaps, and let's guide our legs right back up to our tabletop position. Drop the shoulders away from the ears, reset belly to spine. Let's take our arms up. Flex those feet. Maybe we roll them in a couple little circles each way. Pointing the toes forward. We're going to take one arm back, reach it almost all the way to the wall behind us, and take the opposite leg, stretch it toward the wall in front in that hovered position. Switch sides, lengthen, reaching the hands and foot as far away from each other as we can. Switch it up, and switch, and switch, and switch. Repeat for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Hold it there, stretch that bent knee, lifting the toes to the ceiling. Switch it up again. Keep those knees straight as you can. If they need to be bent, keep them bent the same amount through the range. Alternate through for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Hug those knees into the chest. Giving those knees a pull to the outer shoulders and rock that body from side to side. Again, big breath in, and we'll breathe right back to center. Let's go ahead and turn the head to one side, turn the head to the other, and come right back to center. Let's take our arms down by our sides, inch those fingertips again toward the bottom edges of our mat. We'll unfold the legs to tabletop, this time with knees and ankles together, and let's reset belly to spine. Lengthen those knees, bringing the toes to the ceiling. We're going to breathe those feet out toward the side walls, lengthening out through the inner thighs, and then we inhale our feet together. Exhale in, open. Inhale, feet together. Take the arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, open. Inhale, feet together, and one more time. Exhale, open. Inhale, feet together. Let's roll those legs in a circle. We're going to move them together. Our corkscrew. Lower body corkscrew. Upper body stays still as we trace that circle on the ceiling. And then let's circle the other direction. We'll feel the bones in the back of the pelvis press gently into the floor as we move those legs. Pause at the top, reverse the direction again. Pause at the top, we'll reverse one more time. Breathe those legs to the ceiling. Bend the knees, keeping the big toes together, and those toes come in toward our body for frog. Exhale, belly to spine. Press the feet forward toward the wall in front of us. Inhale to frog, and exhale, press. If we need to take pressure off the trunk or the back, press those toes a little closer to the ceiling. Inhale to frog. If you want to challenge it further, press them as close to the floor as we can get them. We may find a happy medium somewhere in between as we press and take it to frog. One more time, press. Take it to frog. Draw those knees into center. Rock the upper body side to side and shake those ankles out. Big breath in and breathe right back to center. We'll guide those feet to the floor. Take the hands down by the sides, and let's curl that pelvis from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Again, curl to 12. Upper body stays nice and still, and release to 6. Bring that body back to center. We're going to rock our knees toward the screen and away. Again, rock them toward the screen and away. One more time. Rock toward the screen. Allow that far hip to come up a bit further. Breathe it to center and exhale over to the other side. Inhaling the knees to the ceiling, we'll bring them a little closer to the bottom. Let's squeeze our glutes, press through the heels, and lengthen that trunk up to bridge. As we lift our hips to the ceiling, we're going to feel that length, or that limited length, through the tops of our thighs. We'll press our kneecaps toward the wall in front. Hold it here. Enjoy that stretch that goes kneecap all the way to the top of the pelvis. Big breath in, and exhaling, we'll lower that body down to the mat. Release the glutes at the bottom, take a breath, and exhaling, we squeeze and press right back up to bridge. Hold those hips in the air, and let's take our heels up and down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Heels come down, take a breath, exhale, bridge down. Release at the bottom, and rock those knees toward the screen and away. One more time, rock them toward the screen. Rock them toward that far wall. Breathe back to center. Belly to spine, let's exhale, squeezing and lifting those hips again. Bring one knee at a time out toward each side wall, keeping the hips lifted. Maybe thinking about taking the hips up a little higher as the knees continue to move. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees to center, breathe it in. Exhale, bridge down. Release the glutes at the bottom. We take another side to side rock and another as we breathe in and as we breathe out. Take them back to center, big breath in. Belly to spine on the exhale, and we squeeze and lift. We finish our bridges, moving through a march, lifting one knee at a time. We want to make it more challenging. Stretch another foot up to the wall in front. Lift 4, or up to the ceiling rather. 3, right above us. 2, and 1. Final foot comes down. Take a big breath in. Exhaling, lengthen those hips down to the mat and release those glutes at the bottom. Let's bring our knees in. We'll rock the body side to side and release that head. Look over one shoulder and over the other as we stop the rocking, and we come back to center. Keep a hold of one knee. We'll take the other foot to the floor. Cross that lifted ankle over the opposite leg. And if we do have a little more slack, we lift to our figure 4. Hold that crossed over position, rock away from it to move the stretch to the outer hip. We don't need to move very far to feel that shift, and it may come to the side of the hip or the glute. It may come to the back of the thigh. There's different places we might feel this engaging. Most important thing is don't force it. Breathe yourself back to center. Unwind, and let's take the other side up. Lifting if we have the room to move. Again, rock away from that crossed over side, finding the sweet spot where maybe we can move that stretch a little more toward the outside. Big breath in, exhale, center, hug those knees, and let's take our feet down to the mat. We're going to turn onto our side, rest on the forearm. We have 3 different levels that we can go through here with side plank. We can start here with our waistline simply lifted up and the knees are slightly forward. I want you to keep your shoulder away from your ear. And as we lift that hip up, we should feel some engagement through the side of the body from the armpit down toward the hip. If this is challenging enough, stay here and that arm comes to the ceiling. If we want to take it up another step, take the hip up off the floor. Again, a little more work through the sides. If we have a little more effort to give, take it up to your side plank. Wherever we are, this is our starting position, and we're going to take the hand down and up. Top hand comes down, we lift it back up. Top hand comes down, and we lift it back up. 2 more, top hand down, and lift. Last one, top hand down, and lift. Hand comes to the hip. If the upper body has been the only thing lifted, we stay where we are. Everybody else take the hip down, we bend our knees up, and let's come up through a sitting position and give that weight bearing side a little bit of love. Give it a little roll back. Tip the head to the opposite side and let that shoulder lengthen out. Big breath in. As we exhale, that head comes up nice and tall, and we're going to repeat on our other side. That forearm's vertical, knees are forward. I want to encourage you to take each side individually. No preconceived notions about what goes on this side, no matter what we did on our other side. We're going to take our shoulder away from the ear and lift that waistline. We'll hold it there, feeling some effort from an armpit to hip. Let's go ahead and see if we can take that arm up to the ceiling, the top free arm. If we have a little more, we can lift up into a side plank on the knees. And if we have a little more effort to give, let's take ourselves up. Again, we may be different one side versus the other. Regardless of what's on the mat and what's off, we take that top arm down and bring it up. Lower it down and lift. 2 more. Lower and lift. Last time. Lower and lift. Let's take those hips down if they've been up. We'll take ourselves up to a sitting position. Sit however you can get yourself up, most vertically oriented, and then get that weight bearing side a little roll. We'll tip our head away from it, take a big breath in, and exhale back to center. Give those shoulders a little shake before we make our way onto hands and knees. And now if you want that padding for your knees, go ahead and grab it again and place it right under the tops of the shins. Once we're here on hands and knees, let's keep that core engaged. Curl to cat, reverse to cow, and come right back to center. One more time, curl to cat, reverse to cow, and bring that body back to neutral. Let's squeeze our shoulder blades together behind the back and then press them toward the floor. Squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. One more time. Squeeze and press. Take the hand on the screen side right up to the thigh. Hold here. If it's challenging enough, just hold it. Otherwise, squeeze and press single arm for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Switching sides. Opposite hand to the thigh. We hold or we add that motion, squeezing and pressing the blades. There's 4, 3, 2, hold it up there for 1. Take that second hand down. We're going to stretch one leg back, keeping the ball of the foot on the floor. Reset belly to spine, bring the other leg up to plank. Holding here, we're going to tap 1 foot at a time, just beyond the outer border of our mat. Doing our best to keep our bottom nice and still, trying to let it rise or lower. One more tap, come back to center. Knees come down underneath the hips. Let's give that tail a little wag and bring our bodies back to center. Let's take one arm at a time out toward each side wall. Keep that head and neck nice and still. And that breastbone facing the floor as we take our arms to the sides. Excellent. Lift out to the side. Pulse that hand toward the ceiling, squeezing the blade in toward the middle of the body. 3, 2, and 1. Hand comes down, breathe it in. Exhale the opposite arm out to the side, and we hold or we squeeze and pulse the blade inward. Squeeze. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hand comes down. Curl the cat, reverse the cow, and bring that body right back to center. Let's take those feet together. Bring our knees apart and press the bottom back. Slide the hands forward again until we find that length through the outsides of the trunk. If the underarms don't like this much of a stretch, bend those elbows, pull them in a little closer to the body. Let's lower our forehead down if those arms are straight and take a big breath into the back of the rib cage. Breathing out, we walk our hands toward our screen. Pause here, take that big breath in again. Breathe it out. One more time, big breath in. And breathing out, we walk our hands through center all the way over to the other side. Again, big breath in. Exhale. Big breath in. Breathing out, we come right back to center. Excellent. Let's go ahead and bring ourselves right back up to all fours. We're going to curl that upper body up until we're in a nice tall kneeling position. Let's give our shoulders a roll. Keep those blades slightly squeezed, and we're going to draw the belly and spine together. Let's lean that body back and then come up nice and tall. Again, lean that body back. Feel the front of the thighs working and come up tall. 2 more. Lean it back. Take it up tall. Last time, lean that body back. Hold 3, 2, and 1, and we'll come right back up to center. Let's go ahead and take a seat on our mat. We have one more exercise to engage those abdominals a little bit more targeted before we make our way back onto our sides. Bottom is resting on the mat. We're settled with our center of gravity just behind our tailbone here, and our feet are forward with the heels lined up with our sit bones. We're going to take our hands to the outer borders of those thighs, right low down by the knee joint, and then let's press our hands and legs toward each other. Leaning the body back, we'll open the elbows up a little, and we're going to take those arms out to each side. Open and close those arms. Fixate on something. See if you can find something about 6 to 10 feet in front of you to focus on. Keep that upper body nice and still. Arms out for 4, for 3, for 2. Last one, and we'll pull ourselves up nice and tall and give the shoulders a roll. We'll finish our time in sitting with the hands back behind the body. Fingertips can face forward toward the heels, out to the sides toward the side walls, or back toward the bottom wall, depending on what feels best on those wrists. We're going to settle our weight back toward the heels of our hands and press the shoulders away from the ears. So we're pushing down into the heels of our hands. Let's inch that bottom forward, straightening out the elbows as best we can. And we'll bring our bottom forward until we feel our biceps lengthen out. If all we're feeling is wrists, I do want those hands turning out to the sides versus pointing forward. We'll send our breastbone up to the top of the wall in front of us. As we press through the hands, we should feel a nice stretch through the front of the arms and a stretch through the chest as well. Hold here, take a big breath in. Exhale, belly to spine. We'll breathe again, but if you have a little more slack to give and you want to take that bottom up, go ahead and lift toward reverse tabletop. Wherever we are, we hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower that bottom. Turn to face the screen. Sit up tall, give your wrists a little shake. Give that head a little shake. And then let's make our way down to the mat. We'll bend those knees up, take them forward, and take those hands right up to the waistline. Lift that waistline from the floor, and we're going to move to a 4-part clam. We take our feet up, we take that top knee up, take the knee down, lower the feet, lift and lift, lower and lower, lift and lift, lower and lower. One more, lift and lift, lower and lower. Let's straighten our legs out here. Hand can stay on the hip or come in front if you need a little more stability. We again do a 4-part lift. We take the top leg up, take the bottom leg up, bottom leg down, lower the top, lift and lift, lower and lower, lift and lift, lower and lower. One more, lift and lift, lower and lower. Let's bend the knees again, and we're going to move to our hydrants. Take that top leg up and down. There's 4, here's 3, here's 2, here's 1. With the toes together, move to straight up clam. 4, knee up for 3, knee up for 2, knee up for 1. Top hand comes to the mat. We're going to straighten our bottom leg out and leave the top toes resting on that bottom leg. Take that knee up and down for 4, For 3, for 2, for 1. Take that knee forward, bend those knees up again, and we'll lift to our hydrants. 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to hip height, stretch the bottom leg out. Hydrants again. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring that leg back to hip level. Straighten the top leg out. Flex that top foot. We'll swing it forward. Point and draw the toes back. Forward and back. 2 more. Swing forward. Point back. Last time. Swing forward. Point back. We're going to draw our bottom leg back in line with the top one and take that bottom leg up and down. Last 8, 7. Get those inner thighs working. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Top leg comes down. Bend up those knees and give your hip a little pat. All right, we'll roll our shoulder back and down, and let's take ourselves up and over to our other side. We're in the home stretch here. Rest on that bottom arm and bend up those knees. Take the hand to the waistline if you can and lift up that waistline. We'll move to our 4-part clamps, lifting the foot, then the knee. Knee comes down, feet down. Lift and lift, lower and lower. Lift and lift, lower and lower. Last time, lift the feet, lift the knee, lower that knee, lower the feet. Straighten those legs out, top hand to the mat or right at the waistline again. Lift the top leg, lift the bottom leg, lower the bottom leg, lower the top. Lift and lift, lower and lower. Lift and lift, lower and lower. 1 more, lift and lift, lower and lower. Bend up those knees. We'll move to our straight up clam with the toes together. There's 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Keep that top leg where it is. Slide the bottom leg out. Hand can be on the waistline or in front of us for stability. Top knee comes up again. There's 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Bend that bottom knee. Hydrants for 4. 3. We're almost there. And 1. Back to hip height. Stretch that bottom leg out. Hydrants again. 3, 2, 1. Back to center. Stretch that top leg straight and flex the foot. Swing forward. Point the toes. Draw it back. Swing forward. Take it back. Swing forward. Draw back. Last time. Swing forward. Draw back. Hold it there. Slide the bottom leg back up. Hand comes to the waistline. Take the bottom leg up and down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take that top leg down. Bend at the knees. Give that hip a little pat, and let's turn onto our backs. With the arms down by the sides, we're going to rock those knees from one side to the other. Again, rock toward the screen, and let's rock away. Coming back to center, flip the palms to face the ceiling and slide those arms out to T. Again, rock those knees from one side to the other, potentially letting the head move in the direction opposite of those knees. And rock. Coming back to center, cross an ankle over the other knee. And again, if we have a little more room to move, lift it up. Hold that position to wrap those shoulders away from the ears and give the body a little wiggle away from that figure 4 position. Coming back to center, we'll switch. Ankle to knee. Lifting if we've got the room, and we rock away from that crossed over leg. Coming back to center, unwind, hug those knees into the chest. Let's take our feet to the floor. We're going to turn ourselves back toward hands and knees, but we're going to make our way to a crouch. So the feet will be on the floor. Lift those knees up, and we're going to walk our hands back toward our feet. Once we're settled over our ankle joints, we'll come up nice and tall and get our bearings in standing. Whew, give those shoulders a roll. Shake those legs out. Open and close your eyes a few times. Recalibrate. And then we'll come back to face the screen with those feet shoulder width apart. Let's point our toes to the front and bottom corners, the heels back toward each other, and let's soften our knees, settling the weight down into those feet. Inhale and shrug. Exhale, lower those blades. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale those arms out and down. Let's take our feet together. We'll close with another big breath in. Our arms come up to the ceiling. Look to the fingertips as we press our hands together, and we draw them into center. Excellent work. I love it. Thank you for being here. We'll do it again next time.